need a little bit more.
Captain, there you are!
What is it, Roz?
I'm so sorry to interrupt, sir, but it's urgent.
Spit it out!
I have news that there is new support headed our way.
Well, if that is true, then I suppose it is time for... Support Report!
Well, hello there, my darlings. How's it going? My name is Craig, and welcome to the first episode of Support Report. This is going to be a series where I basically cover new support that comes out that I care about. It's not going to cover everything that's released, but if anything comes out for an archetype I care about, or it's just something really cool that I want you guys to know about, I'm going to make a video on it. So, today we're going to be going over Frightfur Kraken and Fluffal Octo. Now, Fluffals are my deck. They are my favorite deck of all time, and they probably will always be my favorite deck of all time. They're me. They are me, in a nutshell. They're incredibly powerful. They're a glass cannon without the glass. They are just a straight fucking cannon, and they will kill you if you blink an eye at them. I love them to death. And I love all the artwork and everything like that, the aesthetics and everything. So whenever new stuff is released for the deck, it's like an event for me. I basically want to throw a party. It's a big event for me. I really love it when it gets new support. I will say that previous support has been quite lackluster, but today I'm going to be covering Frightfur Kraken and Fluffal Octo. One of which I'm a little disappointed with in practice, but I've been doing some testing with both cards. I'm going to give you guys my opinions on them as of thus far. So, we're going to cover Frightfur Kraken to start with. Now, Frightfur Kraken is a level 8 water Frightfur monster, 2200 attack and 3k defense. So the first effect, once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls. That's cost. Send it to the graveyard. This card cannot attack directly the turn you activate this effect. Second effect, it can attack twice each battle phase. Third effect, if it attacks at the end of the battle phase, switch it to defense position. Now, it's a level 8, meaning rank 8s with Sabertooth are even more of a breeze. So that's really, really cool. The second cool part, when you see this shit-eating grin on my face, you know that something's gonna be a little busted here. The once per turn you can target one monster your opponent controls, send it to the graveyard effect, isn't a hard once per turn, it's a soft once per turn. If you don't know what that means, it basically means it does not list its name. It doesn't say you can only use this effect of Frightfur Kraken once per turn, it just says once per turn. What's really cool about that is that when you fuse with this into Sabertooth, Sabertooth will bring back Kraken, you can use the effect again to send something from the field to the graveyard. And what's really cool is that when it says this card cannot attack directly until you use this effect, it says this card and not Frightfur Kraken, meaning that you can fuse with Sabertooth again after that and bring it back, and it can attack directly still. That's really fucking amazing. That's so cool. Kraken is amazing. I've been doing some testing, gotten it out quite a few times. It is a really good card, and in single doors, I think it's probably gonna replace Wolf for me. I still run a Wolf. I just replaced my Leo, which I teched in for this, because this can still remove stuff. And what's really cool, by the way, because it sends the monster to the graveyard, it doesn't destroy it, this is now another means to get around stuff like builds and anything that can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, which is usually a problem for the deck. This is another way to get around that. And if you can target stuff like, I don't know, cosmos aren't relevant, but let's say Slip Rider, which you can target, but it gets an effect when it's destroyed and sent to the grave, you can just send it to the graveyard, which is really cool. So anything that gets an effect when it's destroyed, you can just straight send it to the grave. And you can do it multiple times, because you can keep bringing it back with Sabertooth, which is so cool. And of course, a level 8, you can make rank 8. So, Kraken is amazing, I really approve of it. I'm hoping to dear God it's a foil when it comes out here. I really want it to be a secret, because we haven't had a secret yet in the Frightfur range, so that'd be really, really cool. So next card I'm going to go over is the Fluffal Octo. It's a level 1 fairy water type. I think its stats are really crappy. 800 attack and 800 defense. So it has two effects. I'm kind of looking down here because I'm slightly disappointed. I got a picture of it up here and I don't want to look it in the eyes because I'm a little disappointed. Now on paper this card seems amazing. So you can only use each effect of Fluffal Octo once per turn. Its first effect is that if it's normal or special summoned, you can target one Edge-Imp or Fluffal monster in your graveyard and add it to the hand. Basically, meaning that you can add back chains, sabers, swords, tomahawks. Not that you'd want to add back swords or tomahawks. Not that you'd run those. They're not very good. Swords good. Tomahawks not so great. I mean, anyway, I only run sabers and chains myself. The only thing it does different from Rabbit in that effect is that it has to be summoned to get the effect, and I can add back chain if I wanted to. Second effect. If it's used for the fusion summon of a Frightfur fusion monster, you can return 2 of your banished monsters, I believe. Target up to 2 of your banished monsters and return them to the graveyard. Now, right off the bat, everyone is thinking, I can recycle my wings play. If I fuse with this after I've used my wings, I can recycle my wings play. That's fine. That's definitely somewhat practical. Personally, not for me, but I'll go over that in a little bit. I'm going to talk about the first effect and why Rabbit is better. Now, adding a Fluffal or Agent from grave back to hand is really good. It helps you here and now. Like, during that turn when that effect uses, it helps you keep your materials and keep fusing, right? It helps you here and now. That's great. I'm fine with that effect. However, in order to initiate it, you either have to get lucky with Toy Vendor, you either have to set up a Toy Vendor play where you're guaranteed a Fluffal by setting it up with Edge Sabers, which means that you already had to have made a couple plays, which means it's going to be a little iffy, but you can sometimes do it. Or you have to waste a normal summon on it. Neither of those three are particularly practical. Rabbit is just going to be better to get something back to your hand. So that first effect is trumped by Rabbit. The second effect, obviously people are going to recycle Wings plays. There's really nothing else you're going to put back in the grave. If you use a Frightfur Fusion prior to this effect and you return some materials to banish again with Frightfur Fusion, maybe that could work. But everyone's going to be using it to recycle Wings plays, obviously. The reason I don't think this is particularly useful, 90% of the time when you're playing Fluffals, your opponent is dead on your first turn. It is an OTK. You're setting up for a future that isn't there, in my opinion. And after doing some testing with Octo, it looks great on paper. On paper, this is infinitely better than Rabbit, right? Okay, in order to consistently get the effect where you return stuff like Rabbit, you'd have to run more than one of Octo, in my opinion. And I don't have space for that. A lot of people don't have space for that. Fluffals are a very tight deck. It's really difficult to find space. And for that effect, when you can just search and fuse with Rabbit, not using a summon, Rabbit's infinitely better in that regard. Yes, you can't add Chain back, but that's what Sheep is for. You can special Sheep, return a Fluffal for cost, which is great, which means you get your Dogs and Owls back, which is a lot better than not getting them back, and then you can get a Chain for Brave. So I've already got that covered, so there's nothing in that first effect that I can't already do incredibly easily. And the second effect, like I said, isn't very useful because it sets up for your next turn, for the long term. And there is no long term with Fluffals. There really isn't. Most of, like, 90% of the time, like I said, 90% of all the games I played with Fluffals, they are dead on my first turn. Maybe even more than I haven't really kept count. But yeah, it's just not very practical in that regard. So for me, Octo, after doing some testing, I probably won't be running it. For me, Rabbit is much better because it helps you here and now. It doesn't set up for a future that isn't to come. Don't get me wrong, I see how it's appealing, but it's appealing on paper. In practice, it just doesn't work. From all my extensive playing of Fluffals, I'm confident in saying over 1,000 games. I played an incredibly ridiculous amount of games with this deck. And yeah, I just don't see it being practical. But Kraken, holy fuck, yes. I can't wait till it comes out. I'm definitely running one of it. And I really look forward to its release. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching Support Report. And I want to thank you guys so much for all of your support recently. I've gotten a lot of comments and a lot of really nice feedback, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you a lot. I've been getting a lot of new subscribers, which is excellent. Hello, you newbies. And yeah, thank you so much. If you want to discuss anything with me, please, I reply to all comments that I can. Leave them in the comment section. And don't forget, guys, you can leave video or written responses. I'd love to see some video responses from you guys. I definitely think that's something that's been lost from YouTube. They did take away the video response feature, but you can always post links down below, make a video response if you want. It'd be really, really cool. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care and duel on.